Hey guys, the month of May is just stacked with incredible games. We've had Uncharted 4, which may be the game of the year. We've had Doom 4, which may end up being the shooter of the year. We've had Fallout 4 Far Harbor, which may be the DLC of the year. We've got Overwatch coming up, which has had one of the most successful betas in history and could end up being the multiplayer shooter of the year. We've got Mirror's Edge Catalyst coming out in a couple of weeks, which could also be a real surprise hit this year. So it's really unfortunate that Homefront The Revolution has launched in such a competitive time window, because this game has been in development since 2011. Actually originally announced as a sequel when THQ was still around, and had just finished development on the original Homefront. The original Homefront being developed by Chaos Studios, which was also shuttered. And then the game moved over to Crytek Studios, and then in 2014 they experienced some financial difficulties. And then Koch Media and Deep Silver took on the license and have been developing it ever since. And this game is, I guess, somewhere in the middle of like a Far Cry meets an Infamous Second Son meets a Metro Last Light. So you've kind of got the Far Cry element of the game, which sees you move from point to point on the map. You're kind of opening up outposts, you're developing a resistance presence, you're getting people to kind of join your faction, join your side, so you can build an uprising. You've got the Metro, the gritty, post-apocalyptic, raw, everything is desolate and destroyed and just looks really run down setting. But you've also got that couple with Infamous Second Son's kind of futuristic compound look, which has also got the focus on the mission structure, which is very much a pick up and play kind of style. And that's sort of where Homefront The Revolution sits, somewhere in the middle, but it's never quite the sum of its parts. It's never quite as good as any three of the aforementioned games on its own, so it doesn't quite stand on its own merits, which is a real shame, because there are some good points to this game. There are a lot of negatives. One of the good parts is the resistance mode, which we're going to detail in a separate video. To me, that's probably, well, actually it is arguably the selling point of this package. But the campaign itself is a little hit and miss, and the story does tend to peter out quite quickly. To give you a brief overview, in this gritty post-apocalyptic setting, you're against a Korean KPA military. It's in 2029. And this military is kind of taken over everything. It's their way or the highway, basically. So you're a member of this resistance faction, and as part of this resistance, it's your job to try and get civilians on side, build more people, build a movement, and from that, then fight back against the military. And to do that, you have to save civilians from sort of prisoner situations. You have to save them from being executed, from embarrassing scenarios. You may actually have break-ins, the military actually breaking into people's houses, so it may be down to you to kind of try and stop that. So there's always different ways to recruit people, and also you can recruit people by actually fulfilling the missions that they actually set for you. There's actually mission boards in the game. And if you take on someone's mission, not only do you earn money that you can spend, you also actually earn their trust and their respect. And that's really quite a cool way of doing things. And the game just looks fantastic. I mean, this is the PC build you're seeing here. We understand, and we have been told, there are some serious issues with the PS4 version of the game, including some frame rate issues, stutters and hiccups, as well as some bugs and glitches which break it right from the very beginning. I would seriously recommend that you pick up the PC version, because you can use a controller and you can play it with a DS4 with a DS4 Windows update, or you can use an Xbox One controller, and it looks seamless. I mean, the game for me, I haven't really encountered any issues with any bugs or problems, and obviously it's just generally going to look better with the frame rate and such. So yeah, I would definitely recommend doing that if you're going to consider picking up Homefront The Revolution. But having said that, the campaign, as I already alluded to, is a little bit thin. There is a lot to do. It's actually 30 hours worth of content, according to the developers. And there's a vast map with the strike points, which some are optional, some are necessary to the story. And again, you've got all the jobs to do. But with the strike points, which actually earn you reputation with all the civilians, you can actually have to disable a coolant system. You have to hack devices, which kind of create a bit of a blackout in an area, and then that kind of gets people to kind of fight back. You also can cut wires, and then hack to get into more information on the KPA as well. But also other things include like destroying convoys and armored vehicles, and you have to kind of use strategies to kind of make sure you disable those. But unfortunately, fortunately, you can take Resistance members along with you. So you can take up to 4 people and they have them at your back at any one time, which is really convenient because the game's difficulty curve is absolutely savage at times. I actually found at one point I was dying after just doing one little set of missions. And then I was being killed when the alarm was triggered, and because the military, they just pounce you, they hound you, and they'll really just jump down your throat, which is all well and good and as you'd expect, but yeah, just be prepared. This is not going to be a walk in the park. You also get access to a phone, so the phone gives you access to the map as well as messages between your comrades, all the jobs you have access to, all the strike points. You also get a lot of story within that as well, so you can kind of learn more about the world and people's individual collections and journals and things like that. There's also going to be some DLC, which we've learned will be released this year and also next year. You're going to have 3 sets of single-player content, the first of which is going to be called The Voice of Freedom, and then the second called Aftermath. Both of those will add several hours of content to the single-player campaign. And then in 2017, there's going to be another much bigger single-player content called Beyond the Walls, which was probably going to be more akin the size of Far Harbor for Fallout 4. All 3 of those packs will be available individually, or you can buy them as part of a season pass, so the individual prices have not been announced just yet. The game is also going to receive regular free content updates for the multiplayer component, the Resistance mode, and that's going to be for the first year at no extra cost, which is great because, as I said before, that is the selling point of the game for me, and we are going to be releasing a separate video to show you why. But for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time.